This June, Wes Ward and I grabbed our Hobie kayaks and headed up to Collins Lake for a little bit of fish sniffer style adventure.
Oh boy, fish on. Now I know you can't see me, but I'm sure you can hear me. Now when I got a fish on in the kayak, I like to get the fish out in front of the bow. So I'm actually coming around right now as I slowly retrieve line. And it feels like a good fish, but they all feel like good fish until you see them. So let's see. So I'm coming around. There we go. Now I'm in position to fight the fish. Nice. Ooh, nice little rainbow.
And he's way off in the distance, but it looks like Cal's fighting a fish at the moment. Yep, he definitely has one on. So I still have my gear out, but we're gonna buzz on over and see if we can see what he's hooked into. Cruising, trying to catch up to him. Looks like a nice trout. Oh yeah, nice fish.
Hey Wes. I dropped down just a little bit deeper and got a bite right away, so maybe they're just a hair deeper than we thought.
5 minutes later, and I was hooked up again.
No camera. I don't know how to film him. I'm a mess.
Just like that, and I had 2 rainbows in the cooler. We'll be back with more Collins Lake trout action after this message.
Wes Ward's hooked up. He was trolling some kind of minnow bait 10 feet deep on a downrigger. We spotted some fish breaking on the surface and he immediately hooked up. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice! Awesome, Wes!
It's the wrong kind, dude.
Was it bass?
Yeah.
That's cool.
A few minutes later, and Wes was hooked up again. This time, it wasn't a bass. This footage was shot in Elmer's Cove, basically right behind the Collins Lake store. The cove was stuffed with shad, and that rang the dinner bell for the lake's bass and trout.
Show me that trout, Wes.
That.
Oh, nice fish. Oh, I got one too.
Nice.
I just got one. All right, Wes Ward's hooked up again. He just caught a big old trout. He probably has another one. I just got hit and lost mine, and they are biting. Let me see if I can get past him here. Get an angle here. It's a trout. Oh, this side, Wes. Bite him on this side. I was all pedaling like crazy to get over here, and then you're like, I'm going over here. It's a bass? Yeah. That's cool. What we're doing here is we're seeing all kinds of shad busting on the surface, and there's, you know, whatever kind of game fish are out here, they're mixed in with these shad. We're catching trout, we're catching bass. I wouldn't be surprised if we caught a crappie or something else, but there's just a sea of shad breaking here. That's a nice spotted bass.
Yep, nice spot.
Good deal. Yeah. Wes is pulling a little crankbait, I'm pulling spoons, and it is working. We've had a pretty good day of trout and bass fishing here at Collins Lake. We encountered a situation we weren't really expecting. We're seeing a lot of shad on the surface, and both the bass and trout are in those shad. They're chasing them, they're feeding on them. And here's the rig I've been running a lot today. A 6-inch sling blade followed by a small shad pattern XL. Now, at times I'm running the XL without the sling blade, at other times I'm using the sling blade, and both approaches are working. I would say the naked XL rather, without the sling blade was actually working better. I'm running this off of 2 colors of lead core, so I'm down probably 8 or 10 feet at the most, and it's just been really effective. As you can see, that XL is just a great shad imitation, and of course the big sling blade, it simulates a trout feeding on something. They come in expecting to see a trout feeding, they see a little shad, boom, fish on. And when you're trolling through the shad, you see shad breaking, and you're pulling that shad imitation. It's really hard for the trout to lay off of that. So that's been the pattern here at Collins Lake today. We've had spotted bass up to about 3.5 pounds, and we've had rainbows up to about 3 pounds. So very productive spring fishing. I'm surprised to see the shad up on top this early in the year, but it's happening and it's working for us. So can't complain.
When I hooked this fish trolling my sling blade and XL rig about 20 feet deep, I thought I was into a monster rainbow.
Woo! Turn off line. So fun. What's a bass? Bass.
Nice one, Gnome.
Yeah.
Fishing the West with Kel Kellogg is brought to you by Penn Fishing Tackle, Abu Garcia Big Game Reels, Cousins Tackle Premium American Fishing Rods, and the Fish Sniffer, the premier source for West Coast fishing information since 1982.